Good afternoon, class. So today is 23rd of April and we will have to cover the current affairs of today. The first news is related to the Supreme Court direction to the central, state and union territories regarding the issues and the mismatches of oxygen and the essential drugs that is currently putting its pressure on the availability and also providing the good treatment to the individual who have been suffering from the COVID. Now, all these issues have come to the prominence because there have been certain deaths all around the world. The cases have humongously shot up beyond 3 lakh. We are receiving cases around about 3 lakh for the last 3 days. So that is putting pressures on the beds that are available in the hospitals. Therefore, the oxygen supply have also increased. The government is basically asked to ensure that the oxygen facility should not be obstructed by any state with regard to the plants that are available in those particular state. And in that particular case, Delhi has been one city or union territory, you can say, that is or has been put under humongous pressure because of the cases that are coming day by day, and the demand of the oxygen is lacking in the various hospitals. So in that particular regard, there have been certain PILs that have been filed in the Supreme Court. Supreme Court have told us that why can't there could be a uniform program and uniform order with respect to the availability of the oxygen from one place to another. The center should come forward with regard to the surety of making the oxygen availability at a fast track manner and also in an affordable manner to the states wherever it is required. So these are some of the things that are going to happen. My only suggestion to you to please take care of yourself, because the situation is very worrisome. If you see the situation of HP also, there are only 10,000 cases that are being tested every day. Out of these 10,000 cases, approximately 2,000 are turning positive. So as far as possible, avoid any travels outside of the home until unless it is definitely needed, or you have to get the essentials or provide care to any other person. So please take care of yourself. Wear the mask if you head out of your homes, and all the protocols that are suggested for the COVID management needed to be followed. So I hope this is clear. The next news is related to judges pro tem. Now, what is this article, judges pro tem? First of all, I hope you remember the precarious conditions of the vacancies that is currently prevalent in the High Court, in which approximately 40% of the total posts that are sanctions are lying vacant in the High Court. In the backdrop of this, the Supreme Court have taken a cognizance of this matter. They have asked the central government by writing a letter that when will you clear the name, and they have sought the clarification and the timeline that should be made in a time-bound manner, that the appointment should be made in time-bound manner from the central government. But the central government have still be sitting and saying that there is background check that is currently going on. Once the background check will be completed, as they are facing the COVID situation, there will be fast track mechanism by which the names of the judges which have been sent by the collegium of the Supreme Court. I hope you remember collegium. Collegium means the three senior most judges of the Supreme Court. They have sent the names of the individuals who could be appointed as a High Court justices to the central government, but central government is going around with the checks. Therefore, there is a delay with respect to the appointment. Now, in that regard, there is Article 224A in the Constitution. First of all, understand what is Article 224A. It provides power to the Supreme Court to appoint retired judges if there is vacancy in the high courts to be sitting on the benches of high courts, so that the justice could be ensured. And this act really has been enacted or really has been used by the Supreme Court of India. But now they have suggested that they will use this extra, or you can say the provision that is hardly used in the Constitution. They will use this particular provision to basically clear the pendency and the areas that are currently pending. And in that particular backdrop, they have said that whenever there will be vacancies, we are going to provide you a timeline. We are only going to resort to this particular article if there are enough vacancies that are in the High Court, and if they exist, we will certainly come forward. And in this particular provision, they have set a time frame that if there are vacancies who exceeds by 20%, so the total amount of the people that are sanctions for a High Court, if there are 20% of more vacancies that are lying in the particular High Court of the justices, they will trigger this particular mechanism and they will rope in the retired justices to be sitting on the High Court. However, there is no relation with respect to the pendency of the cases and the vacancies of the judges. Here, the two cases have been quoted. In Madras High Court, there are approximately 5.8 lakh cases that are pending, but only the vacancies at 7%. And in the Calcutta High Court, there have been 44% vacancies, but the cases only stand at 2.7 lakh. So that is a difference, that the vacancies does not directly cater to the needs of the cases that are pending and going from one place to another, but there should be another transitional methodology that is needed to be basically provided so that the cases could be resolved in a time-bound manner. Right now, the mechanism that we are currently following, you have to produce the evidence. The evidence needed to be produced in a multifaceted manner, and the courts are also very lenient with respect to the production of the evidence that is currently not available at the first outset. So the multiple parties are getting involved in that, and then these multiple parties are actually dealing with one another. So this is what has been said, and the judges pro tem could be appointed. The Supreme Court will use the power under Article 224A if there are vacancies which exceed 20% of the total in the high courts. ठीक है, तो उसको ध्यान रखिएगा. The next one is Green and Raw. What is this particular article? First of all, I hope you remember tribunals. Tribunals are basically an extrajudicial body that are established under Article 323A of the Constitution, and they are established by the central government, that is Central Administrative Tribunal or the National Green Tribunal. Then we have Company Appellate Tribunal. What is the purpose of establishing a tribunal? So that a fast-track justice could be, a fast-track affordable justice could be ensured to the individual who have been aggrieved in certain manners, or if there are disputes regarding certain issues. Now, as these tribunals were getting established, what are the criteria for establishing of the tribunals? These articles deal with that particular issue. Now, they have raised the issue with respect to the appointment of the IAS officer Girija Vaidyanath at the helm of the affairs of the NGT Southern Branch. Now, this particular appointment was challenged in the High Court on the basis that the desired candidate, who is the IAS officer, does not possess any administrative experience with respect to dealing with the environmental cases and the environmental challenges. So he basically is going to act on the whims and fancies of the government, and he is going to basically act in the similar manner as the central government will want him to. Now, when we talk about tribunals, the whole idea of tribunal was that for the judges, it is not possible to know everything about the system. They have to research, they have to work. The tribunal will basically rope in the expertise and the specialization with respect to the fields on which they will be giving their decisions. So, for example, environment is a particular field in which the persons who have master degree and postdoctoral degree, they can be made to sit on the tribunal so that they can provide a better judgment with respect to the cases. Now, when we talk about NGT Act, there are two criteria that are mentioned over there. There is administrative experience. In the head administrative experience, all you require is 15 years of experience in administration. It does not define that whether you require 15-year administration experience in environment, whether you require 15-year administration in what kind of nature or what kind of dealings you should have. On the other hand, the second is the qualification and the experience. In that, there is 15 years that is defined with respect to the qualification and 5 years with respect to the particular field in which you should have been working. So basically, the acquisition is that tribunal have been made a parking spot for all the IAS officers who are looking for the post-retirement jobs, and tribunal has been the most widely used recourse by the retired IAS officers to get themselves paid after the jobs. So that is what has been criticized, and in that the Supreme Court and the High Court, the decision was filed in the High Court have said that it is outside of the purview of their jurisdiction. High Court is completely true in saying that, because NGT is established by the Parliament, and the Parliament can decide the terms and the manner in which it should be operating. So the sole role of the government needed to come forward. The government needed to provide a recourse with respect to the ambiguities and with respect to the ambiguous criteria that are being defined or that are being set up or laid down with respect to the appointment of the NGT officials. So I hope this is clear. Now, the next article is written by the checkered legacy of the Chief Justice of India. Now, this is an article that is written by Prashant Bhushan. There is nothing in this article. However, there are two or three things that needed to be questioned on the basis of the independence of the Supreme Court and the matter of the Supreme Court. Why it was in news? First of all, we have questioned the appointment of Mr. Ranjan Gogoi to Rajya Sabha, and he has said that it is not ethical of a former Chief Justice who have been sitting on the major judgments with regard to Ram Mandir, the CAA, the Rohingya issues, and the electoral bonds to basically accept a constitutional or a type of a parliamentary or a Rajya Sabha seat by the ruling government. It is highly unethical of a Supreme Court judge's conduct to accept such a position. Apart from that, he have questioned on the ways in which the Supreme Court have dealt in the previous year. He have questioned that when the rights were going in Delhi, CA rights were going in Delhi, the Supreme Court have refused, and the committee was appointed. The committee was appointed with which is favoring to the central government. Already they have made their clear. This is the same thing that happened in the farmer protest. Apart from that, there have been violence in the JNU, which was not entertained by the Supreme Court of India. Right now, there have been serious concerns that are asked with respect to the efficacy and transparency of the electoral bonds, and they have become a parking spot with respect to the black money that could be roped in with the uses of the shell companies into the election system of India. They have also been questioned by the Supreme Court of India. Now, in that particular part, when the migrant labor exodus came onto the forefront, the Supreme Court have said that the lockdown imposition with respect to the containment of the coronavirus is sole responsibility of the central government, and they do not have any say in that. But right now, there have been various cases in the high courts that have been filed regarding the issues in which the people are suffering, and the high courts, Allahabad High Court, have even declared that if there is any death with respect to the lack of oxygen, it should be the complete responsibility of the government. And in the same manner, the Supreme Court have assumed to itself the responsibility that multiple cases are being lined in the Supreme Court at different parts. So they have used different kind of writ petition that have been filed, and they have assumed to themselves by applying the provision of Article 32. Please search it, which Article of 32, which part of Article 32 provides special powers to the Supreme Court to basically withdraw all the pending cases in the High Court to itself for a complete justice. Okay? So this is what is currently happening. Apart from that, there is administrative rule that is still in question. For example, Ranjan Gogoi has been accused of sexual harassment. So he himself sat on the bench rather than having an open inquiry from some other judges. He sat himself on the bench, and then he finally refused to recuse from that particular bench. Apart from that, the complainant who was there, that was also not given the recourse with respect to the Chief Justice of India. So these are some of the things that have been causing the very much delay. The recent issues with respect to the political rallies that are conducting or that are being conducted in West Bengal, there have been petitions that are filed in the Supreme Court, but Supreme Court is dissuading people in filing the petitions in the Supreme Court under Article 32, because it is saying that we are asking the high courts to basically take up the role of the guarantor of the protector of the fundamental rights, and we are decentralizing the responsibility. According to Prashant Bhushan, Supreme Court should not do that, because people have faith in the Supreme Court, and ultimately it is the Supreme Court that is going to provide or instill confidence among the people that it is still the upholder of the values and morals that our constitution or the preamble contains. But recently there have been a checkered legacy that is currently going on with respect to the Supreme Court, and there is when the tenure is over, there have been serious loopholes that the Supreme Court have not updated itself, or you can say the matter or the manner in which the Supreme Court was supposed to be acting, it had not behaved in the same manner as it was supposed to. Okay, इसको ध्यान रखिएगा. The next news is, should election campaign be made virtual? So this is a interview. If you want to have more insight into that, I think everything is clear. Should election campaigns be made virtual? I hope you understand the mass rallies can generate different kind of virus transmission from one person to another that can create huge problem. This is what we need to avoid. but without engaging with the people, how will you know their issue? The virtual medium is currently only one-sided medium, and the multiple people cannot talk about with respect to the meetings and the other things that are currently conducted at the ground level. So these are some of the things that are needed to be balanced. I hope you can read this on your own. The next one is the making education accessible. Now again the same issue, accessible, affordable education has been the major concerns of the bureaucrats in the last 1 year. Already we have known that there have been various problems with respect to the availability of the material, teachers and school in the last 1 year. Now, when we talk about the education accessible, what are the issues that we are currently facing now? Most of the time, or most of the institutions in India, when the COVID hit, they have switched over to digital media, in which, when we talk about the internet penetration of the state, we have seen certain examples in which the students were basically going out uh, for 1 kilometer, 2 kilometer, and some were even sitting on their roofs, on the slanting roofs, for getting a signal so that they would be able to learn or get the notes from the teachers, as every movement was stopped within the country in the last year. Now, most of the bureaucratic hurdles have already focused on the monitoring of what have been happening. So they were only monitoring the process, that on the quantitative aspect of it, that whether you have taken 1 hour class, whether you have not taken 1 hour class, this is what they were basically dealing with. However, when it comes to education, there is need to have a multifaceted approach. The education was only going one-sided, and teacher were only taking very less interest with respect to the understanding of the people. There was no two-way communication or no interaction over the digital media. So therefore, the government should have created a type of a mechanism in which the online education could have been relevant with the use of the technology, 3D graphics, videos, and certain other pictures that could have made it easier for the people to basically provide that material to the teachers across the country. There could have been the rarest of the rarest policy, rarest of the rarest possibility that the bureaucrats could have invested in those particular technologies that could have basically made consonance with respect to the education system of all India. So the things that are taught in the South India could be taught in the Northern India, that were taught in Bihar could be taught in the Smooth India. There should have been a central digital education plan under which material could have been developed. Only the lecture that is being available is not going to be very good for the students to understand in the times of pandemic. Apart from that, when we talk about the internet education, the students cannot sit in front of the laptop screen, specifically the younger student, for more than 5 hours. So they have also called for an flexible approach with respect to the usage of radio, and with respect to the Prasar Bharati, they have 34 satellite channels that are currently operating. One of satellite channel could be dedicated for a particular class, specifically the important classes such as 10th, 11th and 12th. So these are the three important classes we can provide for. For the other classes we can provide, and we can create a channel in which the interactive learning by the uses of different diagrams, issues, and students who will be teaching them directly or indirectly could have helped them. But in that particular issues, there is a need of infrastructure, or there is a need of basically providing infrastructure to all the poor families who have been in the rural areas. So the Panchayati Raj institutions, the village institutions, the Jila Parishad could have been roped in. They could have created a type of a system, a type of a bio bubble within the village that could have basically ensured their movement from one place to another without hampering their accessibility to the education. So Panchayat Ghar mein there could have been some television that could have been arranged on which the students could be taught. So small bio bubbles could have been arranged according to me, but I don't know what kind of harsh lockdown has happened last year, because a lot of people were not positive last year. So that is why it is also been in question. So these are some of the things that are needed to be understood here. The next one is India joins search for submarines. So India have basically sent deep submergence rescue vehicle which can look up to the depth of 1,000 meter, and with the help of sonar it can remotely locate if there is any vehicle. What is this Indonesian submarine? It has submerged as the Indian Ocean, in which 53 persons were there. There was a exercise that was currently going on, and there was a torpedo which it was firing, and after that it have lost all communication with respect to the submarine, and maybe the submarines on the ground level it have dived, and then it was not able to be found. So now India is also going to help Indonesia in locating where this particular submarine is existing right now. The next news is related to US will cut emission by 52% by 2030. This is what has been said by Mr. Joe Biden. There have been two issues that are being discussed, that is climate financing and tripling of the adaptation. And the 50 to 52% of the emission cut 2030 is double the emission that was announced under the Paris climate change. But the procedures and the activities that will be cut down has not been announced by the president. Maybe they will be announced in a detailed report once the US will formulate that what kind of things we need to cut down. Basically, the electricity, the automobile, and the power sector are some of the major sector under which there is a need of a huge transformation if you want to reduce the greenhouse gas emissions. The Biden have also announced that the financing that was needed to be made available from the developed countries to the developing countries, amounting to 100 billion rupees, will also be provided, and it will also be made available to the developing countries. India, on the other hand, have said that we will cooperate with USA under a program called as Agenda 2030. We will be focusing on two parts: strategic energy partnership and the climate action and plan. So these are the two things that they have said we will be focused upon. The next one is China ends China deals on national interest grounds. So under the federal government, the state government are basically to take away the decision whatever they want to engage with the foreign countries. In that, on the national interest ground, the federal government have basically cancelled the two agreements with China on the basis of the security, internal security or digital security threat. So China have basically called Australia to keep away from the Cold War mentality and do not close all the mechanism of information exchange and the technological and other exchange. So these countries are in confrontation, and we will have to look how they will behave. The next one is Chinese Defense Minister Wei Fenghe to visit Sri Lanka. He will be discussing with respect to the various issues with respect to Sri Lanka. I hope you remember they want a closer cooperation. Already Sri Lanka have said that they are going to cooperate with both India and China. India is a formidable friend of Sri Lanka, but Sri Lanka is also in close cooperation with China. This is what they have said. Okay, so every country, even the smaller one, are basically balancing everything that they can in the manner that they could. Okay. The next one is COVID impact 82% of the small businesses. This is shown by a survey. There is market and credit access that is currently available, but productivity is still the challenge that is currently in front of the businesses. Most of the small businesses have received a negative. I hope you understand. There have been lack of demand. There have been decline in the money. As there is decline in the money and lack of demand, definitely there is going to be the impact on the small businesses, in which 82% of the businesses have received a negative impact because of the COVID-19. So this is only such a survey. So I think there will be major impact we will again have to see in the near future. So I think that is it for today.